There is a specific kind of emotional damage that comes from someone who stays attached to you emotionally while letting you go physically. And it is different from rejection, different from ghosting, and often more destabilizing than either. When someone leaves clearly, your nervous system eventually recalibrates. When someone disappears completely, your mind is forced to grieve. But when someone keeps one foot in your emotional world while removing themselves from your real life, your system never gets resolution. It stays suspended in a state of unfinished meaning. They are gone enough to hurt you, but present enough to keep you bonded. And this is not accidental. This is the result of someone who cannot tolerate the full weight of intimacy, but also cannot tolerate the emptiness of detachment. They do not want to lose you, but they are not capable of choosing you in a way that requires accountability, consistency, and presence. So they create a dynamic where you are emotionally tethered while physically alone, psychologically connected while relationally abandoned. They may still think about you, miss you, feel attached to you, even rely on you emotionally in subtle ways, but they withdraw from the responsibilities that come with actually being in your life. This creates a split reality, where their inner world is connected to you, but their outer behavior avoids you. And when you are on the receiving end of this, it does something very specific to your mind and body. Your nervous system learns that closeness does not equal safety. It learns that emotional intimacy does not lead to stability, but to withdrawal. So instead of relaxing into connection, your body stays alert, scanning for signs of disappearance. You become hyper-aware of tone shifts, response times, emotional temperature. You start reading between lines that should never have required interpretation. You begin to feel connected and abandoned at the same time, which is one of the most confusing experiences the human attachment system can endure. Because part of you feels chosen emotionally, while another part of you feels rejected physically. Your mind cannot form a coherent story. And when the brain cannot form a coherent story, it loops, it replays, it searches, it waits. This is why this dynamic is so addictive, not because the connection is healthy, but because it never completes. Your system is constantly trying to resolve the contradiction. You ask yourself questions that never settle. Do they care or don't they? Am I important or not? Was it real or was it imagined? Should I move on or wait? And because they never fully leave, your system never fully releases. They may not be with you, but they also don't allow your bond to die cleanly. Every emotional reach, every vulnerable message, every moment of warmth after distance reactivates the bond and resets the clock. This is not love. This is emotional access without emotional responsibility. And over time, it does something deeper to you than simple heartbreak. It erodes your self-trust. You stop trusting your perceptions because the signals don't match. Their words say one thing, their absence says another. Their emotions suggest attachment, their actions suggest avoidance. And because humans are wired to seek coherence, you often turn the confusion inward. You start assuming the inconsistency must be your fault. You wonder if you're asking for too much, if you misread the connection, if you imagined the closeness, if you were too intense, too needy, too emotional. But the truth is far less personal and far more structural. What you are experiencing is the psychological impact of being held in someone else's unresolved internal conflict. They are divided inside themselves, and instead of resolving that division internally, they externalize it onto you. You become the place where their fear of intimacy and their fear of abandonment coexist. They reach for you when they feel lonely, but withdraw when the relationship starts to feel real. They want the emotional nourishment without the relational structure. And because they do not consciously intend harm, they often justify this behavior to themselves. They tell themselves they're being honest, that they're not ready, that they don't want to lead you on. But the truth is that continuing to access you emotionally while refusing to show up physically is exactly what leads you on. It keeps you emotionally invested without giving you the security required to heal or move forward. And the longer this continues, the more your attachment system adapts to instability. You begin to associate longing with love, distance with desire, uncertainty with intensity. Calm starts to feel empty because your nervous system has been conditioned to equate connection with anxiety. This is why, even when you logically know the situation isn't healthy, your body resists letting go. It has learned to survive in a state of emotional ambiguity. It is waiting for resolution that never comes. And this is also why this dynamic often lasts longer than relationships that end cleanly, because there is no clear ending, no final moment, no emotional closure, just a slow, quiet erosion of clarity. But here is the reality that cuts through all of it. Someone who holds on to you emotionally while letting you go physically is not choosing you. They are choosing their comfort. They are choosing access without responsibility. They are choosing relief over growth. They are choosing the safety of distance over the risk of real intimacy. And as long as you remain emotionally available without being physically chosen, the dynamic does not change. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because the structure rewards avoidance. The moment you understand this, truly understand it, something shifts. You stop trying to interpret mixed signals as hidden meaning. You stop mistaking emotional closeness for commitment. You stop waiting for clarity from someone who benefits from keeping things unclear. And you begin to see that what you were holding on to was not potential, but a pattern. A pattern that kept you emotionally engaged while slowly disconnecting you from your own needs. And this is where clarity begins. Not in blaming them, not in blaming yourself, but in recognizing that love cannot exist where accountability is absent. Emotional connection without presence is not intimacy. It is attachment without structure. And you deserve more than that. You deserve someone who holds you emotionally and physically. Someone whose inner world and outer behavior align. Someone who does not make you question your worth through inconsistency. And when you step out of this dynamic, even though it hurts, even though it feels like loss, your nervous system finally gets the chance to recalibrate. The looping stops. The confusion settles. The bond loosens. And you begin to feel something unfamiliar but essential. Clarity. You're safe here.